cover two, cover three, cover four, two-man under, cover one, cover six Willie? In order to be successful passing the ball in any football, but especially in college football 25, you have to be able to identify coverages and attack them in appropriate places. And today we're going to talk about how to identify coverages pre-snap so that you can attack the right parts of the field in college football 25. All right, here we are, y'all, on the practice field doing something a little bit different. It's going to be all on the practice field this time. Happy New Year, by the way. Thanks for being patient on a new video. We're going to start things off with just base cover two. Now, base cover two is kind of not used as often. It's used a little bit more in the red zone, but still a pretty prominent coverage that you're going to face. Now, how do you identify cover two before the snap? So here's what a cover two looks like. In cover two, you're going to have two deep safeties. So there's your first key. You have two safeties up top. Once you see those two safeties up top, you know you're going to have cover two or cover four, and we'll get into cover four in just a little bit. Now, once you've identified the two safeties up top, you want to take a look at the cornerbacks. Now, we can see here, we've got trips on one side, and there are no people lined up overhead of the receivers. Like you see number 14, Robert Lewis there, has nobody lined up over him. So that's my first key to know that this is a zone coverage. They are not in man coverage here, or else they would be manned up. Now, of course, people can disguise coverages in this game. You'll have to learn how to identify after the snap, but just for now, we're going to focus on pre-snap, undisguised coverages to get the basics down. So I know that they're in zone because they don't have anybody overhead of my receivers. You can see that lone cornerback on the right side of the field, just kind of hanging out. Now, are they in cover two or are they in cover four? In cover two, the cornerbacks are going to play a little bit closer to the line, right around 5 yards, because they're going to play cloud flats or hard flats, meaning they're trying to cover that 0 to 5 yard range there right off the line of scrimmage. In cover four, they'll be a little bit further back. So I'm looking for these cornerbacks to be about 5 yards off of the line of scrimmage, and that's how I'm going to identify cover two. So in cover two with the linebackers, you've got two hook zones, which is going to be your linebacker and your safety out here in the nickel. They're going to cover the middle of the field. They're going to pick up any drag routes, slant routes that come across the middle, carry them over to the flat defenders if they have to. And then this middle linebacker here with the mid read, he's going to kind of cover the middle of the field, and if he has to climb vertical to cover that space in between those two deep zone safeties, that's his responsibility as well. So where do you attack when you're facing a cover two? Well, you can see that there are some gaps in these zones here, mainly between that deep zone of the safety and the cloud flat. You can see that there's some gaps right there around the 20-yard line. And then, of course, that middle linebacker, he doesn't really have the athleticism that a safety or cornerback might have. So if you send a route deep in the middle there, they're going to have trouble catching up to it. So that's another good place to attack. So you're looking to attack over those flat defenders and underneath the safeties outside, or over the middle in between the safeties, trying to get over top of that linebacker. And this play call that I have here is pretty perfect for that. So you can see you've got number 8, Cam Coleman. He's going to go up the middle. We're going to try and maybe drop it over the top of the middle linebacker there. But if that's covered, we do have a corner route for Rivaldo Fairweather, our tight end. And then Robert Lewis, number 14, is also running a corner route. Now, one of the things that you can do in this game to make sure that you give yourself some space is to stem the routes. So maybe that corner route that Fairweather is running is a little too deep. I think he might run into that safety. So I'm going to hit Y, and then I'm going to hit A to select Fairweather, or triangle and then X on PlayStation. And then I'm going to hold LB or L1 on PlayStation, and I'm going to use my left stick to move this down a little bit. And now I can see that that's going to be right there in the zone to attack cover two. So now I've got that post stem down, and I know I'm going to put pressure on that cornerback there. He's in that cloud flat. He's really going to have to choose between taking the running back and supporting the flat, or dropping back a little deeper to cover that corner route and support the safety. So now we've got some space. He ends up floating a little bit back to cover that post. So we end up hitting the running back. Let's see, maybe if I leave that post a little deeper and don't stem it down, maybe he comes up on the running back some, and now we've got a little space. He makes a good play on it. But you can see that's where you want to try to attack a cover two, is outside there, and really make that flat defender make a decision. Now let's see how Cam Coleman does over the middle here. Maybe we can get those corner routes to drag those safeties away, and we can get a nice opening over the middle. That's a bad throw by Peyton Thorne. Let me try one more time here. See if we can demonstrate here how that softness in the middle. There we go. We're able to sneak that in that zone there. You've got a linebacker on a receiver. So again, cover two defense. You're going to have two safeties deep, two cornerbacks playing about 5 yards off the ball, and you're going to want to look to attack between the corners and the safeties. Make those cloud flats make a decision. Are they going to help out in the flat? Are they going to help out on that corner route? Those are the kind of combos that you want to do. Put stress on those defenders in those zones, and then make them make a decision and put it where it needs to go. All right, here we go. We're taking a look at cover four, and there's really two kinds of cover four, so you're going to want to listen closely. There's cover four quarters and palms, which are based on match coverage rules, and then there's cover four drop, which is just regular, everybody drops into their zone and plays that zone. Cover four quarters is the most common one that you're going to see, so it doesn't necessarily play out exactly like you see it on the field. We're going to talk a little bit about match coverage rules, not going to go super into it, but I want you to know what match coverage is. First, let's talk about how you identify cover four. You're going to look for the two high safeties again, just like cover two. However, if you look at the cornerbacks here, instead of playing about 5 yards off the ball, they're playing about 7 to 8 yards off the ball. And that's how you know that they're in cover four, because their responsibilities are deep. They're playing a little bit further off the ball so that they can get into their deep zones. All right, to talk about match coverage principles a little bit, we're just going to focus on the left side of the field here with number 5 and number 8, Keandre Lambert-Smith and Cam Coleman. And then you've got your nickel back here in a quarter flat, the purple zone. And then you've got your cornerback and safety there in 2 blue deep zones. And then your support over the middle, your 3 rec with the middle linebacker in this yellow zone. Now, as this is not a match coverage video, we're not going to get super into the match coverage rules, but here's what you need to know. Match coverage is really man coverage with zone principles, or zone coverage with man principles. It's a hybrid defense, however you want to call it. So these defenders are not necessarily going to play the exact zones that they are assigned to. They're going to read and react to what the receivers do, and they're going to pass them off based on that. So with keeping that in mind, one thing that I love to do, since cover four quarters is primarily a deep coverage defense, I love running mesh plays against it. It's really going to confuse these inside defenders when they're trying to pass off the route runners and tell them where to go and figure out where to go. So you'll see they get a little mixed up here, and you're able to pick one and just get it quickly over the middle. It's a great thing to do to attack it. Another good thing is attacking the flats, because these defenders are going to look to cover deep first and, not give up any big plays. So that does leave quick passes to the flat open. So mesh concepts, passes to the flats, these are going to be the keys to getting underneath a cover four quarters. Don't try to go over the top on it too much, because that's what it's trying to prevent. So just take what they give you. All right, we've talked about 2 defenses with 2 high safety looks. Now let's talk about defenses with single high safety looks. Just like this, you can see 1 safety over the top. Now, when you see this, you know you're pretty much getting cover 1 or cover 3. We're going to start with cover 3, which is one of the more common defenses you're going to face. Now, how are we identifying cover 3? Like I said, 1 single high safety, and just like cover 4, you're going to see these cornerbacks are playing about 7 to 8 yards off the ball because they have deep zone, deep third responsibilities. They're going to have to get deep off the snap. So you see them playing off the ball like that, you know they're in cover 3. So in cover three, there's really two ways that I like to attack it. You can see that the deep zones are supposedly covered. That is the way, that is the primary thing in cover three, is that your one high safety and your cornerbacks are covering the deep zones. You've got every third of the field covered by a single player. However, that does leave some gaps. As you can see, some gaps in the zones here right above those hook curls, in the seams between the hook curls and the hook flats. That is a great way to attack a cover three. Or if you're looking to take a shot against cover three, you can try and manipulate these zones by pulling these defenders down, one of the safeties down, and getting a receiver into that. So this is what I'm going to try and go over first and demonstrate. So here's what I've got set up. And this is really all about manipulating the zones. We're going to see if it works. We're going to look to hit this post from Robert Lewis. And here's what we're going to try and do. Cam Coleman on the right side is trying to run this comeback route. So he's going to occupy that deep third corner. We've got Rivaldo Fairweather. He's going to go out and occupy the nickel back over in the slot there. And then hopefully Robert Lewis will cross the face of that single high safety and we'll be able to get him over in the corner of the end zone. Let's see how it plays out. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so we didn't make a good throw here, but I think that was a pretty good example. I did, because Auburn's offensive line is terrible and Alabama's defensive line is really good. I put all the defensive linemen in spies to buy me some time here just to show. But look, here's what happened. So we sent Cam Coleman on this out route here, and he occupied this third safety and kind of held him down. And so we've got these defenders occupied here. And so that drags them over. We've got a drag route coming from our tight end here that keeps these hook curls down a little bit. And that allows us to put a little post route in this gap in between the zone. Now, if I would have thrown it maybe like right here and laid it in there, that probably would have been good. I was about a second late and didn't put enough air under it. But you can see, look at this gap right here. All right, so we talked about trying to manipulate the zones in the cover three. Let's talk a little bit about attacking the seams here. So I've just kind of got Fairweather and Robert Lewis dialed up on streaks here, because remember, when you're looking at this cover three zone, look at the gaps there in between the curl flat and hook curl, like right there in between those deep thirds. That's where we're sending those seams. Now, they might send those linebackers out and they might cover both of those streaks. That's fine. That's why we have this underneath Texas route coming from the running back. Any kind of underneath route, really. Because basically what's going to happen is you're going to send those streaks out, and those hook curls are going to have a decision. They're either going to follow those streaks or they're going to stay underneath to cover this underneath route. And whichever's uncovered, that's what you're going to hit. So let's run it, see how it goes. You can see that they're kind of floating back and they just leave. All right, so let's look at instant replay here. I almost got sacked. Peyton Thorne, poor guy. So you can see on snap, number 11 and number 0 for Alabama, they're going to quickly go and cover these streaks. And look at, I mean, just look at all this open space right here where our running back is able to just cut underneath. Boom, there we go. Now, if you're playing online, you might have somebody who's like using this linebacker here, and maybe they're playing like shallow to try and cover here, and this 13 is going to come wide open. All right, similar concept here, except we're putting the tight end on the shallow route. So hopefully we're going to be able to drag these hook curls down. They're going to see the shallow route first, and we'll be able to hit one of the seams. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, he's going to, oh, okay. Yeah, perfect, perfect. So number 11 actually played that really well, but you can see even when they play it really well, I mean, you force them into pausing and making a decision. So he's going to drop back here. Fairweather, number 13, is running a drag route. And he watch him just for a second. He hesitates to cover him. Now he is going to float back to cover this seam route that we have going. But we're just able to throw it to the outside and underneath. Let him turn around and make a secure catch. And you've got an easy 10, 15-yard gain. All right, so we're coming out here and they're in a single high safety look. So they're in cover 3, right? The cornerbacks are backed off and everything. Wrong. You can look right here and remember when we were talking about before, knowing how they're in zone or when they're in man, all of the defenders are aligned head up over other receivers here. We are in cover 1. So you see a single high safety look, cover 3 or cover 1. What is cover 1? It means one deep high safety. Really simple. And then you've got man coverage underneath on every receiver. And then your three rec here is really more of what you would call a robber. They are free to kind of roam the middle, make plays on really anything. So what do you notice here? Tons of help in the middle. So when you see cover one, you got a strategy to attack the outside. Now, how can you do that? You can really do it with some man beater routes like zigs, or you can do it by doing crossers and trying to run some picks and trying to get defenders caught up. Let's look at zigs first. All right, so these routes right here that are on Fairweather and Lambert Smith, A and Y, are called zig routes, and they are some of the best man-beating routes in the game. Now, why are we attacking the outside? Because the extra help is in the middle. We want to get away from the extra help. And all they do on these zig routes is run to the inside, cut and break really quickly, and then break to the outside. And as long as the defenders aren't shading outside, it's a pretty consistent man beater. They were originally in out routes, so all I did was hit Y or triangle on PlayStation. You pick the receiver's icon, and then you hit the D-pad towards the sideline of the receiver. So for Fairweather, the right button on the D-pad would be towards the sideline. That puts him in this zig. So we're going to run this, and you just kind of watch how it just consistently loses man coverage. You have no help on the outside. We're going to come out again. I'm just going to run this exact same thing. We will hot route these guys into zig routes. We'll look on the other side for Lambert Smith. Boom. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful zig route to the outside. Easy, easy yards. Now, that's a good one, but if they start like shading outside or something like that, maybe they're going to start having your zigs covered. So what do you do past that? You can run some crossers. All right, so we came out in the same play setup, but what I did was I hot routed Jarquez Hunter to a little swing route to decongest the middle here. You know, hopefully we can get a guy in man coverage following him to the outside, and he'll get out of the way. And then we put Keandre Lambert Smith, Y, and Rivaldo Fairweather, A, into short crossers, which is just hitting hot route, picking their button, and then hitting the D-pad towards the center of the field. So why are we sending people to the center of the field? We just said there was extra help there. Well, because we're counting on protection to hold up, and we're counting on all that congestion right there in the middle where those red and yellow crossers mix up. We're counting on congestion and confusion there, and for one of these guys to come open on the sidelines. So as we run it, we see there's congestion and confusion. Fairweather's got a step. Beautiful stuff, easy yards on the outside. Let's try it again. We come out with this setup here. Remember, we're going to send Jarquez Hunter on a little swing just to kind of get him out of the way. You can also block him if you want, but that does kind of free up an extra defender to do extra stuff. So I do like having him out in a route. And we're going to set it up. We're going to get a lot of congestion here over the middle. The middle linebacker kind of flows towards Y. We throw it to Fairweather. He's not able to catch it, but he had a step. It's a good throw. That should be an easy completion. All right, before we wrap up, we're going to go over 3 hybrid coverages, starting with cover 6. Now, like I said, cover 6 is a hybrid coverage, and wouldn't you know it, it's cover 4 and cover 2. 4 and 2 is 6, quick maths. Okay, so what are you looking for to identify that you're facing cover 6? Well, first, let's take a look at what it looks like. There you go. On the right side there, you see you've got your vert hook, cloud flat, and your deep zone, just like a cover 2. On the left side here, you've got your 2 deep quarters, and you've got your purple, your quarter flat. So just like your cover 4, and then your middle linebacker, your 3 rec, is kind of supporting both of them. So it is a 2 high deep safety look, but you can kind of see that these safeties are a little bit off kilter there, and that's going to be your first giveaway that one of them is a little more shallow than the other. Now you're looking at hybrid coverage. You've got different coverage on both sides. You can also see that if you even break it down further to the cornerbacks, on the side with cover 4, the left side, the cornerback is playing back about 7-8 yards off the ball, just like we said. On the side with cover 2, the right side, the cornerback playing about 5 yards off the ball, just like we would in cover 2. So now we know we're looking at split zones. And once you've identified that, it's really just as simple as picking a side to go ahead and attack. Mainly, I like to attack the cover 2 side because it doesn't have quite as many defenders in coverage, and it's more susceptible to getting beat deep. So I like to pick out the cover 2 side and attack that. So you would just pick out whatever you want to do to attack a cover 2. We've got, a slant flat combo going right here. So we can do that. They don't follow Fairweather to the flat. So there we dump it off to him. Boom, 5-yard gain. Next one we're going to look at is cover 6 Willie, which is the exact same thing as cover 6, except on the two-man side, or on the two side, the cover 2 side, they are going to be running man coverage instead of zone coverage. So it's just cover 2 man instead of cover 2 zone. You're looking at pretty much the same alignment, except you can see the cornerback on the right side there is playing really close up, pretty much pressing our receiver, number 8, Cam Coleman there. So really, again, it's just as simple as identifying this and then deciding, okay, we've got people head up there, we've got man on the outside, so we're going to run some kind of man beater coverage and try to attack that. So just set that up. We still have this slant flat play called, but instead I'll audible Cam Coleman. We'll do a curl flat there. So, you know, really simple man play. We'll snap the ball here. They do follow the flat, so we throw the little curl route in to Cam Coleman. The safety's playing deep. He's not able to get up and help quickly enough. Easy first down. And then last but not least is cover 9, which is really just an inverted cover 6. So, you know, 6 flipped is 9, so you've got cover 9. So whereas cover 6 would have the cover 2 side on the weak side, cover 9 has the cover 2 coverage on the strong side, which honestly is a little bit more beneficial to the offense. But the goal is to kind of catch the offense off guard if you've been running a lot of cover 6. But same concept, you know, we're going to attack the cover 2 side on the left here. We got a little slant flat going on. They leave the flat open. We're able to dump it off. 6-yard gain. So just make sure you're making that pre-snap read. The safeties are off kilter, so you know you've got uneven coverage. You look at it, you know that you got cover 2 to the left because you've got the cornerback about 5 yards off. You know you got cover 4 to the right because the corner's 7 to 8 yards off. Pick a side and attack it. All right, y'all, that is going to wrap things up here, covering the basics of identifying coverages pre-snap. Now, keep in mind, people can disguise their coverages, so you got to learn the responsibilities of the safeties and the cornerbacks and watch their movement after the snap to see if maybe they're throwing you something kind of disguised. But I hope you learned something here about identifying these coverages, picking out ways to attack them, the different holes in the zones. It's never really my goal to give people ebooks or, you know, meta plays, one-shot touchdowns, anything like that. But what I want to do is give you the basic football knowledge so that you can come up with your own concepts and have fun. So drop some comments down below. Let me know, what are your favorite route combos on cover 3, against cover 4, against cover 2? Let me know, what are your best man beaters? Share it. Let this become a community resource and let's have fun. That's going to wrap it up for us, guys. As always, I really appreciate you. Hit that like button and subscribe so you can see more videos, so more people can see the video. We will see you next time. Peace out.